Like you wish you weren't saying it, but it's coming out because your brain's decided, here you go, take what I have. And then you're like, no.
Yeah.
Hello, guys. Welcome back to the Two Lion Brothers podcast, the podcast where we talk about entertainment and our daily lives, brought to you as a day-by-day comedy. I'm Victor.
And I'm Adrian.
We're back again to talk to you about who knows what, because to be honest with you, I'm tired.
This episode has taken us
Quite some time.
Yeah, we've been setting up for like 2 hours to do this because we just didn't want to do it, if I'm being honest.
I've been napping a lot.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
That's a problem.
It's a problem, but it's a good thing because I've been
Well, no, I think that we've gotten into the habit of doing these later at night and it's earlier in the day.
Yeah, I know. So it's just like
it feels like the
it
energy
feels a little weird.
The energy isn't right.
There's natural daylight coming into the room.
Yeah.
That's throwing me off just a bit.
Yeah.
But you know what? You adapt and you move on.
Right. No, yeah, of course. I mean, we've done the React Mondays in the morning before.
Yeah. We have.
I remember we did one once before you went to class.
Yeah. We have.
It's like super early in the morning, but we've also done podcasts where the sun wasn't even up yet.
Yeah.
And those episodes are kind of funny because we're just like dead exhausted.
Yeah.
But we've also, I mean, this is a little odd because it's been a minute since we've done it like an early morning recording. Yeah. Usually we're like a late night recording sesh kind of people. So now y'all know when we record.
Yep. We're night people.
Yeah. I guess we're night
day
owls.
People.
We're night owls.
Yeah. Sure.
No, I mean, we have definitely gone from, I mean, I don't know how you feel about this, but often I think about how we used to record.
Yeah.
And sometimes I want to film us recording like that. Like do one video record it the way we used to record.
Well, we just facing each other with one mic.
No. But I mean, like, in the sense of, like, in the same, like, scenario. Like, in the same room.
Oh, okay. That we used to do it?
Yeah, that we used to do it. Like, I like to do that so people can hear, or people can get an idea of
what it was like.
Yeah.
Starting out.
Yeah.
I mean, sure.
I mean, I think it'd be funny.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's not our room anymore, so.
Right, of course. But I think it would be interesting.
Not our space.
Right, yeah. It looks nothing like the way it used to.
Yeah.
But I think it would be interesting to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, that we can say we recorded like at least once.
Yeah.
We got, or at least do it in a way where you can see.
I mean, I've done it where when we're recording and I'm laying down.
Yeah.
On my stomach or on my back.
Right. So there's obviously been certain elements of the podcast that just you couldn't see on film, like when we weren't recording.
Yeah.
So there are like all these little things. Like there are episodes where you can hear Victor getting up because he was laying down in the middle of the recording.
Or my legs are crisscrossed and I got tired. I'm like, give me a sec.
Yeah.
Just adjust my legs.
He just like stretch his legs because his legs falling asleep. All these things that used to happen to us, but now they don't.
Yeah.
Because we're on a couch.
Now we're on a couch. We're in a room with lights and 2 microphones.
Yeah.
Pikachu.
Yeah.
And
they can't see the camera guy.
Basically Riggs.
They can't see the camera guy. It's crazy. Honestly, I think as the years go on,
mm-hmm.
I look back and I'm like, man, how the podcast has changed.
Yeah.
From like talking about
so in high school.
Yeah.
To like so in college.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes we'll talk about high school, you know. I think there's something about high school that just inherently, because you're forced to be with your friends.
Yeah.
Like by law.
Yeah.
You know, you go to school, you make friends, and then by law you're forced to hang out with them every day.
Yeah.
So obviously these relationships that form, they definitely create a sense of environment where anything can literally happen at any second.
Pretty much, yeah.
And I mean, like, and also I think it has to do with the fact that we as I mean, for me back in the day, we could get away with a lot more stuff. Like, we could get away with a lot more stuff. Like, I just realized that my gain was up, so I'm gonna have to fix that. I realized that we used to get away with a lot more stuff, so we definitely had, I guess, more fun.
I wouldn't say fun.
Well, because, okay, think about this. Okay, so I know you'd get in trouble for this. So one time, this guy brought a
I'll let you know if I would.
Okay. So this one time, this guy had his bike. Okay. And technically, you're not allowed to do this, but we did anyway. So you know where the gym is. Okay, so this guy brought his bike in through that door. Okay, and then I remember he like rode it all the way up to the tower. Okay, like he just like flew all the way down to the tower.
We can do that.
Okay, here's
you can't. You shouldn't.
Yeah.
Do that. Can't. Yes.
I mean, but he did it, right? And what was funny was there was a teacher at the end of the hall.
Yeah.
I won't say names so he doesn't get in trouble, but so they don't get in trouble. They
narrowed it down.
I narrowed it down. I don't even think he works there anymore, actually. So he was there and he was just looking at him like, you shouldn't have done that. And I remember the guy who was like on his way was like, what are you gonna do about it? And he goes, I don't get paid enough to deal with this. And he just like walked away. And I was like, that's crazy.
Yeah. See, like things like that, depending on the teacher,
right?
They'll just be like, just don't do it again.
Right. Like
as you drive by.
Right.
But like you didn't get in trouble for it.
Of course, right. But I remember there was also, we had a teacher where he would constantly be telling students who would like argue and fight a lot, would constantly be telling them not to fight each other.
Yeah.
Just because he's like, if I run into you guys beating each other up, do you know how much paperwork I have to fill out? He was just dreading the paperwork.
Yeah, because he's got to make a report on the events that occurred.
He has to create like a legal report.
Yeah.
So he's like, I don't want to deal with this. Like, I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
So stuff like that. But it was like the running joke where he just didn't want to.
He didn't want to deal with the.
He just didn't want to. What would like the repercussion? What would happen, right? Well, not for him, not the repercussions for him, but more like the constant effect it would be on his life.
Yeah, see, like when you were going to the same high school I went to, or more like the same high school I went to as you went to.
Yeah.
Yeah, that made sense.
Sure, okay.
There wasn't as many cameras.
Right.
You guys had like 3 cameras throughout the entire school. Now we have like 15 to 18 cameras in the high school.
I think there were only 2 cameras.
One in the office.
There wasn't one in the office.
There wasn't really.
Yeah, there was only one in like the main entrance, which was the side entrance. It wasn't even like the one that you guys had now. Yeah. And we had one by the garage.
Wow.
That was it.
Wow.
As far as I'm aware, those are the only cameras.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a lot more than that now.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. So like, see, we used to think the cameras didn't work. Like they were just like fake ones that the teachers would put up so that our students wouldn't do anything. And then one day during a holiday event that we did, like before our Christmas break, or just our holiday break in general, they ended up making a video utilizing every single security camera in the school.
So footage.
So they used footage. They like filmed their entire like skit over the security cameras.
Dang.
Just to show us at the end of the clip they're not fake.
It's like we're watching.
Yeah.
Big Brother's got an eye on you.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
and that like you could see it on some people's faces for like, oh no.
The instant panic of like some of the stuff I've done in front of those cameras.
Like some of the yeah, exactly. Like some of the crazy things I've done in front of these cameras.
Yeah, okay. So here's
here's the thing with that too though.
Yeah.
They're not constantly being monitored.
Of course.
They're only monitored when there's an event that occurs.
Right, and they just jump to that time.
And they just jump to that time. They're not scanning through an
It's
entire
more like
day.
it's a legal precaution for the school itself.
Yeah.
Like to protect, like if they go like, oh, no one was watching. What do you mean? We have footage of it.
Yeah.
Right. So it's one of those things where if a parent says, oh, my son got beat up, why didn't anybody stop them? We go, what do you mean? We have footage of it. Someone was watching.
Yeah.
Just, like, I don't know what you want.
Yeah.
Right. So it obviously it has caused a lot of issues.
Mm-hmm.
It's obviously some parents aren't okay with their kids being constantly recorded.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you guys have cameras in the classroom yet.
No.
Okay, so like the day you guys have cameras in the classroom, that's when you've like peaked.
That's when people are just idiots.
No,
because something had to cause that.
Oh, I remember there was this girl who she would I remember she had like a case on her phone that looked like a calculator. So she would flip her phone over and it would like it's a calculator. So the whole time she'd be in math class, like you'd see her like, and it would look like she's just working on her calculator, right? Yeah. And then one day the teacher walked by and he goes, "What are you doing?" And she goes, "Oh, I'm just on my calculator." And he picks it up and and at that moment he realized it was a fake, like it was just like an image. And he flipped it over. He's like, "This is a phone." Like it was one of those things where like, "Oh, dang, I got caught."
Yeah.
It was kind of funny. I remember in college, the big thing about high school.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, for me, it was don't use your phone.
Yeah.
Constantly being told, like, don't text, don't this, don't that.
Yeah.
And then you entered high school and people were like, yo, you got to do, like, this Kahoot.
Yeah, I know. Like, pull out your phones for the Kahoot. And we're like, okay. Yeah. And, like, especially when you get to college.
Yeah.
Like, for example, for me, there's, like, an on-location thing that we do.
Yeah.
So we need a phone.
Yeah.
Because station calls you.
Right.
You do your whole segment. They're recording it live at a station.
Right.
So, like, you need a phone.
Yeah.
It's not like you can't have a phone in this program.
Of course.
And you need a laptop.
Of course, yeah. I mean, in any college, you need a computer.
Yeah. Gotta access that bright space.
Actually, that reminds me of this TikTok where this professor told the students they weren't allowed to bring computers into the class. Like he wanted them to write, so he brought in a typewriter. Yeah. And like everybody's just laughing as he's typing his notes. Yeah. It's because you hear the ding, slides it back, keeps typing. Yeah. And then it's like, you asked for this.
Yeah. See, like I never, especially with like today's world.
Yeah.
Trying to stop a student from utilizing a learning tool.
Yeah. Like in my case,
yeah,
that teacher would probably get in a lot of trouble for that.
Oh yeah.
Cuz like in my scenario, like in my case, like I can barely read my own handwriting, so let alone other people's handwriting. So if you want me to take notes in your class, like I'm going to have to be typing them out. Like I don't know what you want. Like it's just not doable for me. So
see, that's the same for me. Since I have low processing power,
right?
If I just turn on the text to speech,
yeah,
I just whisper into it, and then it writes out everything for me.
Right. You just reminded me of in high school.
Yeah,
a lot of us used to not that we used to. This is like a known thing.
Yeah,
I'm sure it used to happen when you were in high school too. A lot of us used to walk around in the high school mumbling songs, like when we were by ourselves.
Yeah.
So imagine what that camera footage is like. It's just a bunch of students wandering around mumbling.
Full-on concerts for the like security cameras. I've like walked down doing cartwheels, like the pot of parade, like the whole thing from beginning to end. So they have an entire show of me just right there in the cameras. But I'm pretty sure they like cycle them like after 30 days.
I mean, it'd be pretty funny. Imagine like someone going through that.
Yeah, I know, right? Just like, let me find this tape from this year.
I can't remember who was telling me that the store they work at, like the main, like one of the main cameras that they had in the store, at the end of the day, someone, like one of the security people, would spend the last hour and a half going through all the footage at like 5 times speed. So you could just see everything, like every single person walking in and out of the store. And I'm like, why do they do it? Because they grab the tape and then put it back in and hit record. So the next day would be recorded over that. So like it would be like wiped. But they did that just to see, because the way that the camera was angled, you could see the cash register. And apparently the camera guy or the security guard could see if someone like so-and-so or whatever.
Cool. Well,
that's what they do. And then and now apparently with the the like self checkouts.
Yeah.
Some Walmarts now are I was telling you this about this in America, how there's a state where they're reporting people and apparently you can't be, actually no, they're recording people who steal.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently you can't be, in this specific state where this is happening, you can't be officially reported as a criminal for stealing something until you exceed $500 worth of theft. So they're just like recording it until like they reach that amount.
Yeah.
And then they're doing, so then they call the cops. Apparently the cops, what they're doing as like a precaution now, what they're doing is they're doing 3 a.m. raids.
Oh my
of these people's houses. Like, just imagine you went to Walmart, you come home, you put your stuff in the fridge, you go to bed, and at 3 a.m, the cops are at your house, like banging on your door. We're here to take some stolen goods.
FBI open.
I want your receipts.
Give me all of the receipts. I threw them out. I didn't even get a receipt. I didn't pay.
All this is stolen. No, it's honestly crazy. I'm like, but how? And the other thing too is they're saying that, actually here they want to implement a law where you have to stand a specific way. Like you can't cover when you're scanning, because people now will stand in a specific way where the camera covers the screen and the scanner.
Yeah.
So it looks like you're passing stuff over it.
Yeah.
But because the camera can't see the screen.
Yeah.
Or like the scanner, we never know, right?
I mean, you can know.
What?
All you have to do is check the time of transaction,
right,
on that exact machine and the exact time of that camera.
Right, but this is a lot of work. Also, like there's a reason why. I think because that's confidential. Confidential. Something like that. I can't remember why.
Well, you don't have to check like the numbers.
Right.
All you have to do is check tracking time.
Right.
If there was no transaction, you'd see it.
Right. It's like how apparently if you like. I know when you swipe on the card, like the card reader thing, apparently if you do it fast enough, it'll auto trigger, like it'll like reset the machine in a way where everything will go the transaction will go through, but it fakes it out and it doesn't actually go through.
Oof.
So, and this is like something that they had to. I remember this happened in like, it was like in the mid 2000s.
Yeah.
Where that was like a bug or something like that.
Yeah.
And they had to like replace all the machines.
Yeah.
Imagine like you're at Walmart, so like swiping.
Now, what do you define as mid 2000s?
Like 2005, 2006, 2007.
I'm like, what does that mean? Mid 2000s?
Yeah.
If I said mid 1900s, what do you think of?
Like the 1950s.
Exactly.
But okay,
we're not really in 2050.
No, it's because so we say the mid 2000s because then when we go after we get to the 2000s, we hit the 2010s.
Yeah.
Right. So then from the 2010s.
Yeah, but you see,
then there's 2020s.
You can't think like that, though.
Right. But so, I mean, like a lot of the people in our generation understand that.
No, I didn't.
Okay, well, you're not part of my generation. I'm talking to my people. Y'all know what I'm saying. You know what's up.
You're a part of my generation. You know what I'm saying.
You know what's up. Check the books. You're the real ones.
No, check the books.
You're the guys in my corner.
Check the books.
You hold me. You hold me accountable. I don't know who this guy is.
I'm your brother. This is called Two Latin Brothers. This is the whole basis for this podcast. Two brothers.
It should be two strangers.
Oh my god.
Imagine a podcast like that. Every episode is two random people just talking.
Having to host like an episode.
Yeah, having to host.
Yeah,
that's a great idea.
That's a really good idea.
Just watching.
You know what I would do?
Just watching them stumble through it.
You know what I would do?
Yeah.
I'd purposefully grab a bunch of different radio hosts.
Oh, that'd be pretty fun.
And throw them in the room because they're able to handle a show.
Right.
So you put them in like, every show.
Oh, it'd be really funny is like if you get two like main anchors. Yeah. They'd just be fighting each other for like talk time.
Well, not really. You know how to give some
for sure,
space,
I guess,
right?
yeah. All right, we'll be right back after this short commercial break.
This podcast is brought to you in part by Two Latin Brothers Podcast. You thought there wouldn't be a commercial, but there is. So make sure to follow us on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. We'll see you guys right now.
And we're back once again. And forever again.
We really need to upgrade that commercial.
Oh yeah, we need to pump out some new ones.
We also need to post on those,
Yeah, just do that.
I was looking at there's a lot of stuff I've been looking at, and I realized I haven't been posting on certain places. Like there's places I haven't posted since last year. So I really need to pick up my game.
Yeah.
I've been doing some stuff, but it's. Like I mean, Why are you looking at me like that? Like I was in the middle of a thought, and then you
got it.
You just ripped me right out of it.
You got it. Continue.
I don't know where I was going. I was gonna say something, but then I lost my thought.
You're welcome.
Just completely unnecessary.
It was necessary at the time.
Nah, I disagree.
You may continue.
Okay, sure.
I give you permission.
Do you?
Yes.
I don't feel like I have it.
Continue.
What if I don't want it?
Too bad.
Take over.
Well, let me tell you one little story about when I was in high school.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so once upon a time, there was a chubby fat kid named Victor. Okay.
So that was you.
I didn't say that, did I? I said once upon a time, this fat kid named Victor.
I mean, that sounds like you.
I'm offended. So, it was winter. Okay.
Why were you on the cold?
Cause Canada. Anyways.
What if it was Vancouver?
I was walking to high school, to the high school, okay? Because I had to bus that day to the high school. Can you imagine this? I walk outside of our house. I trip. Ice. I get to the bus stop. Trip. Ice. You wouldn't believe what would happen in the main entrance of the high school.
There's ice. You trip. You fall.
No, I tripped over the little edge on the floor.
This kid.
3 consecutive times tripped and entered. It's like the first day of like my high school year, like grade 9, walking in, tripped on the way in.
You want to know something funny?
What?
My first year of high school.
Yes.
I went to a different high school to the one you went to.
Yes, obviously.
So it was like, this big change and this whole thing, right?
It's not really a big change, but okay.
Going to high school, it's the big change.
Nah.
It's kind of different.
I never visualized it as a big change.
Okay, I mean, it's not that it's a big change. It's more like it's a different environment. Yeah. You're thrown into a different environment, so it's a little getting used to. Anyway, so I mean, where I went, there was a lot to get used to. So,
my year was the year your high school, and then,
Anyway, so we obviously had like this like assembly for like the grade 9s. We had orientation, blah blah, all that dumb stuff. Anyway, so then we're getting a tour of the school, and we're walking around, and this teacher, he's telling us about something that he's like the French teacher. And he goes, I hope to see you all in French class. And I remember my first day of French class. Half of the class was there.
Wow. Half. That's pretty good.
And then I remember I only passed that class because of Google Translate. If I'm being 100% honest.
They're gonna take away your high school.
It's too late. It's been too long. I'm already a college graduate. They can't take this from me.
They're taking it from you.
I've paid too much money. They what was I saying? So no, he had this thing where he would text people to come to class. And I remember he's like, "Yo, Adrian, what's your number?" And back then I didn't have a phone yet. I go, "Sir, I don't have a phone." And he goes, "How am I supposed to communicate with you?" And I go, what if something happens, and I gotta shoot you a text or something. And I go, I don't know what you're saying.
Yeah.
And he goes, okay. And I remember later in that year, there was a shooting that happened. A shooting here was like an attempted shooting. Yeah. But actually,
it was more like a threat.
Yeah, but someone actually did get shot. Okay. It was more like the guy from a cop, but that's not the point. So there was a shooting that happened in the school. And the school went like on lockdown because. Like if something, because it was moving up the street sort of thing. So they're going to lock down school in case someone tries to like break into school. This happened during lunch. Okay. And you know how they have that big field? So you know where the trees are? No. You know where the trees are.
Okay.
So there's this huge field. Okay. Anyway, there's this huge track, and closer to the opposite end of the school, there's like this line of trees. Along a fence, and I used to go there during lunch on really nice days and just like kind of hang out, eat my lunch, and maybe work on some stuff that I need to get done for the classes coming. And so I'm like there with I was there with somebody that day, and we're like talking and whatever. And then I remember we're just kind of hanging out, and a cop pulls up to the side of the fence. This officer gets out. I'm like, we're about to get in trouble for something that we did absolutely nothing, right?
Yeah.
So I'm already like defensive.
Yeah.
Right. I'm like, I don't know like what's up, right?
Yeah.
And the cop goes, hey, are you guys students of the school? And I go, yeah. He goes, you guys should get back to the school because the school has gone into lockdown, and in the next 5 minutes they're not gonna let anybody in.
Oof.
And I go, what? And the girl and this guy who were with me, they both go, wait, what? And I go, okay, guys, let's like pack up our stuff. And they're like, thank you. And he goes, yeah. He's like, guys, just be careful. And like he got back in his car and he drove away. Mm-hmm. And so we're like running back to the school. We get back into the school, and as soon as we get into the school, we run into this French teacher. Yeah. And he goes, what are you guys doing here? You're supposed to be. And I go, what? He's like, the grade 9s and grade 10s are in the library, and the grade 11s and 12s are in the cafeteria. Yeah. And I go, he's like, there's nobody in the halls right now. And we were like, basically, we walked through like a back door of the school. Yeah. So we're wandering the halls essentially. Yeah. And we're like, we didn't know we were outside. Like, we just got back to school. Like, what's going on? So he's giving us the rundown. Anyway, I walk into the library. Yeah. I'm there for maybe 4 minutes. Yeah. Because my mother shows up to pick me up. Oh. Because our father heard about it. Yeah. And he called our mother and was like, yo, go pick up the kids. Yeah. Just go pick them up. Take them out of school. Just go pick them up. Yeah. So you were already in the car. Yeah. And so you guys are coming looking for me. So I'm like, okay. And the librarian's just like, I guess this is okay. Like, I don't even know. He didn't know what the protocol was. Yeah. Because this had never happened before where like literally down the street, there's like a shooting. And then a parent shows up like, hey. And so, and the thing too was it wasn't really on the news yet. Yeah. To this day, I still don't know how our father found out that fast. Yeah. So it's kind of like,
it's just like he knows people.
Yeah. So it
was like one of those moments of just like, who is our father?
Right. So anyway, so the guy, like the teacher in the library, like overwatching us, he's like, okay, I guess you can take your son. Like, there's no rule that says you can't take your son. So yeah, like, I don't even know what the protocol here is. So anyway, so I started walking out with my mom. Yeah, and there's these two cops at the door, and he's like, "Where are you going?" And he looks at my mom, and at the time, my mom is our mom is really short. Yeah, so they thought she was a student. Yeah. And I'm explaining to the officer, no, this is like my mom. And he goes, oh, okay. Like, wow, your mom looks really young and she's so tiny. Yeah. And I'm like, yeah. And then so anyway, so I'm like joking with the cops, and the cops like, okay, just be careful. Like, make sure like which direction are you going? Yeah. And then we go like in the opposite direction, and he goes, okay, yeah, it's fine. So just get in your car, be safe, whatever. So we get out of there the next day. Yeah. I remember everybody's talking about it, and it's like this whole thing. Yeah. And later on, I found out that this is where this turns into kind of a sad story. I found out that a friend of mine who was like a year or two younger than me, his older brother was involved in not so good stuff. Yeah. And unfortunately, he was shot during that whole incident that occurred. Later on, I found out more details that I actually can't talk about. Yeah. But he, and it's tragic to see those sorts of things happen. Yeah. But you live long enough and it's bound to happen. Yeah. Like, you will meet, like, whether you like it or not, there will come a moment where someone has passed away. And me and you, well, you were shocked by this. The other day we were going through my Instagram, like my personal Instagram. And you were like, why are you following all these people? And like, I'm like, oh, I'm following them like out of like, just because, they're not with us anymore. Like, bro, why are you following all these?
No, because you know how like all of a sudden there's there's accounts that aren't being used anymore. Yeah. And then there's like some accounts where like there's newer accounts. So like it's an old account. Right. Or there's no profile picture anymore.
Yeah.
We were cleaning out your Instagram. Right. From all of those like profiles and stuff like that. Yeah. And then suddenly, I'm like scrolling, like, why are you following this person? Like, there's nothing here, like at all. And you're like, oh, that person isn't with us anymore. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh, okay, I understand that. Yeah. And then I scroll, not even 2 people later, and I'm like, why are you following this person? They're like, they're also no longer. I'm like, yeah, oh my gosh, you're like following a graveyard. Like, and then I continue, and there's one more person.
There were like okay, 5. There's like 5 of them that I follow that aren't with me anymore. Obviously, it's sad, honestly. Especially sometimes when you're like the last point of contact.
Oh yeah.
It's super like I remember like there are actually it wasn't that I was the last one to come, but there was one person.
Mm-hmm.
I basically walked him home.
Yeah.
The day of,
mm-hmm.
and then we like never saw him again.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was another person where I ran into her, and I think like a week later,
yeah,
she died.
Yeah.
So it's crazy to think about some of these things because it's like you're put in a position where. Like the thing too. Okay, so there.
Yeah.
I've never told that story.
Yeah.
The high school story. Like I'll tell that on a different episode.
On
because
a completely different network.
No, I'm gonna tell on a different episode because that story alone is just like it's amazing.
Yeah.
I didn't get in trouble for that. Like it's honestly like it's so suspicious.
Yeah.
But later on I found out that actually a close friend of ours.
Yeah.
His mother is close friends with her.
Mm-hmm.
And her son asked me if I was going to go to the funeral, and I was telling them about what happened, and she told me you should talk to his mother. Like she would love to hear them. Like I don't know. That's like my place. Like I don't feel comfortable. Like we used to sit next to each other during class. Like that's it.
Yeah.
Like for a whole semester we sat next to each other.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So it's one of those things where and obviously just some of the elements around it are like kind of like. Like, I still don't know the full story.
Mm-hmm.
I only know, like, little chunks because of his girlfriend.
Yeah.
That's it. So it's not like I have, like, the full story. So it's not like I mean, like, super detailed. It's like true crime podcast. But it's...
I don't think people want us to open up those doors.
Sellouts. No, it's... no, it's definitely certain things that, have happened. But I think... the older I get, the more I'm experiencing these sorts of things.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of like a year ago, a friend of mine passed away, and I went to his funeral and this whole thing, right? So we go to the funeral. I talked to his mom, and I was talking to his at-home caregiver because he just needed a lot of care because he had a lot of health issues, and so I'm talking with the two of them. And I'm telling his mom how like me and him and this other girl, we used to hang out. We were like this great trio and all that stuff. And I was telling her how we could joke about anything. Like his dark humor was like, if you look up dark humor, it's a picture of him in the dictionary. Because like, I mean, his situation was really bleak. Yeah. He was told he wouldn't make it that long in life. Yeah. So he kind of knew this was like, we were told from the get-go, like this is the inevitable. This is going to happen.
Found solace in his humor.
So we were just like, we cracked jokes about anything and everything. Yeah. And like some of the stuff was like really dark and morbid. Yeah. But man, we had so much fun. Just so much fun. Like it was actually, I think thanks to him, a lot of like my comedy or like comedic moments or things that I find funny, I attribute to like that year I spent with him like every day. But I was telling the home caregiver, it's like, yo man, some of the things he would joke about, like at first, like I didn't know how to approach it because if I laugh, like does that mean I'm okay with this? Like, I'm like, but that's just how he was, right? You have to work it out.
It's like the situation with cancer patients,
right?
A lot of cancer patients are very comfortable joking about their cancer,
right?
And to like people who have just recently met them, right, and then they make those kinds of jokes. It's like, can I laugh about what you just said? Yeah. It's like because you're not trying to feel pity for that person. Yeah. Because you're not supposed to. Right. But at the same time, it's like slight, like, it's
should
like,
I not?
It's like that gray area. It's just like, I don't know what to feel right now.
Right. Yeah. No. Actually, one of the places I used to work at, there was one of the workers there. She had a brain tumor, and she was like spacing out, and she made a joke that it had come back. Yeah. And I didn't know about this. It's like my 4th day on the job. Oh. Like I was just like, I'm like, wait, what? Like I was like, what? And there's like people in the room laughing, and I'm still like shocked. Like, wait, what? Like you? And then later on, she told me about it. Yeah. About like how she's like a brain cancer survivor and all that stuff. I was like, oh dang. She's like, yeah. And then she was telling me how, like one of the side effects of it is she was telling me how like she gets a lot of like she's not that she's forgetful, but she has like moments of just like emptiness. Yeah. I forgot what it's called. There's
spacing out.
Yeah, space. No, it's not spacing out, but there's another word for it.
Like fog?
Yeah, like fog. Yeah, she gets like foggy brained, and so she was saying how that happens from time to time. And I'm like, well, I mean, that makes sense, you know. Like you're here telling the story, so I mean, hey, you win some, you lose some, right? And she was saying how, yeah, and then we were having this conversation about just like the darkest thing ever, and she's like, honestly, can't wait till we can plug ourselves into the like computer, just back up my brain, and I'll be fine. We're just like, okay, whatever. You know, like, so like it's one of those things where, you know, you learn to take what you can, right?
Yeah.
It's obviously, you know,
there's a cool balance, specifically with comedy.
Right.
Because you can utilize comedy in almost every situation.
Right.
The problem is the audience, right?
Right. Yeah.
You got to know the audience,
right,
and whether or not that joke will sit well, or if you just offended someone.
Right. Yeah.
Which is why a lot of comedians, like, there's a lot of comedians that have been, like, recently. I was watching this one comedian who did a really, really good job. He was doing stand up in a bar.
Right.
And they were talking about people on the spectrum.
Right.
And he would people like, you could see people's like faces of concern, like, what is he gonna say?
Right.
But his balance throughout the entire segment was so good.
Yeah.
Because it didn't sound like he was offending.
Of course.
But like at the same time, like, you were laughing.
Yeah.
And you felt like you could laugh, and it was a really, really good execution.
Yeah, it's all about execution, right? And obviously,
like, you shouldn't let your comedy fall blunt.
Yeah, but it's also those moments where you also have the opposite, where some people just feel offended.
Yeah.
Right, and sometimes they're not even a part of that specific group of people.
Oh yeah.
And they feel offended. So it's like, why are you offended? Like, this
It's like secondhand offended.
Yeah. No. So there's actually this sociologist who was saying people who do that at comedy shows, thanks for sharing your feelings.
Yeah.
Because that's what it is.
Yeah.
Like you're sharing your feelings, and that's not the place to do that.
Yeah.
Like, that's not your feelings shouldn't attribute to that man's career.
Yeah.
Like your feelings actually don't have anything to do with it. As a matter of fact.
See, it's also like, it depends on people's mood, right?
Right. Yeah.
If you're not in the right mindset, and then you go to a comedy club, and then someone makes a joke in correlation to something that's somewhat happening to you as well.
Yeah.
And then you feel like that guy shouldn't be joking about that. Like, it's a serious thing. Right. Like, and I'm going through that right now. So then you're like instant, like, you're correlating with what's been said, but they're not talking about you. Right. Like, it's supposed to, like, also help you realize, like, things aren't that bad. Like, you know what I mean? It's just,
you just actually, when you're talking about the autistic thing, remind you of this. There's this Asian comedian. He's Korean. Yeah. His name's Bobby Lee. If you want to look him up, he's kind of out there. He's a little odd, but some of his comedy's pretty good. He has this whole bit about people with Down syndrome, and he was being interviewed, and this lady's like, you know what? You have this whole bit about Down, but I've never seen like a person, like a Korean person with Down syndrome before. Yeah. And the room gets like dead quiet. Yeah. And he turns like, okay, he's like, that sounds a little racist. And she goes, I'm just asking, like, you know, you were talking about your comedy, you were talking about your jokes. She's like, I'm just like, she's white. Yeah. She's like, as a white person, like, I'm just kind of curious, right? And he's like, I get that. He's like, but I'm gonna tell you right now. He's like, we have just as many as you guys have.
As you guys.
The only difference is that you can't really tell.
Yeah.
He said, because we all kind of look like we got it. And he just like reversed it on himself. Yeah. And everyone in the room just like bursts out laughing.
Yeah.
He's like, wait, I take that back. Because he suddenly clicked what he said.
He's like, did I just offend my own race?
Yeah. He had like this whole moment of like, wait, rewind. It was pretty funny, but he's like, I'm gonna put a retraction on that. Like, yeah. I meant that it's hard to tell. That's what I meant to say. But it was,
because like there's like those facial features that like give you the insight as
to
right.
But he was saying how, because their faces are normally like really round. Yeah. It's like it's hard to tell. Mm-hmm. So, but he was saying that, like, you know, it balances out. Yeah. But he had some more like he just wasn't thinking it through. He just he
just kind of said it.
Yeah, and then he was like,
no.
Yeah, it's too late. It's out there.
Hate when that happens, when you're thinking of a thought, and you haven't fully thought it, but you're talking it.
Like, you can see the internal,
like like you wish you weren't saying it, but it's coming out because your brain's decided, here you go, take what I have, and then you're like, no.
Yeah. It happens.
It's a tragedy, really.
Especially when you're a comic, like it must be so hard. Like it must.
Oh yeah, for sure. I really want to do one. I want to show up on stage and then just execute an entire thing, make fun of like some guy's chin or something, I don't know, and then like make fun of myself for a bit, and then make fun of someone else again.
Yeah.
Trip and fall a few times. I don't know. Like I don't know what I'm doing.
You trip on the microphone cable.
Like I don't
You're
know.
like tangled up in it.
I thought we moved on from this. I thought we were wireless. Like I want to do that, but I'm afraid I might get beat up at the end.
No, there's this. Actually, Bobby Lee says that if you want to be a comic, just do it. He's like, the scariest thing is your first show. Yeah. He's like, and every show after that will be terrifying. Oh. He's like, but once you learn to flex that muscle, is what he calls it. It's like you can become really good at it. Yeah. And he says that there's a lot of actors, he's like, who do dramas. Yeah. He says that would be great comedians. Oh, they just don't know how to flex the muscle because they've never had to do it. Yeah. He actually has he's really good friends with the guy from Smallville, the guy who plays Lex Luthor in Smallville. He had him do some like 5 or 6 like comedy things, and he even went on tour, and for one of them he had him open up for him. Oh wow. So that's he's cool. Like, he was saying, "Oh man, I suck at it." He's like, "No, just keep going, just go." And like by the 5th show, he kind of got into the groove of it apparently. So it's one of those things where it takes practice and just learning how to do it, right? And for some reason, every comic has like some crazy, tragic, sad story. Oh yeah. Like either they were abused, they were beat, they were orphaned.
They start off. I remember when my dad left. like that's just for, as soon as you hear a starting line like that, you know the rest of the show is gonna be great. I'm sorry, that's just the truth.
Yeah, it's like I remember one time my dad went for the milk. And
then I got an NBA contract, and suddenly a man came back. A man came in. He had keys to the house, and he had milk.
It's like there's this comic who I can't remember. He has this whole bit about how his dad, like he never really knew his dad. Yeah. And he's like, my dad left when I was like a couple of months old. Yeah. It's like, so if you're out there, Dad, I'm still looking for you. I don't know who you are. I don't know what you look like. Matter of fact, I don't even know what your name is. But if you're out there, I'm your kid. It's like a PSA.
It's like calling out Dad.
Like and then like he'll shout like his mother's name. He's like, if that's the woman you were with,
and you potentially think I look like you.
No, and then he gives the years of like when they were together.
My
so it's like
that's too much.
It's like it's a great bit.
It's like around this month was probably the estimated time you were both together. Then you probably found out around this time.
Well, no, because apparently they were dating a year before. They had to get. So it's like if you were dating so like a year, then he like name drops the city.
Oh my gosh.
He's like, I'm probably your kid.
Like, see that whole interaction. Like I'd want to hear the story about that interaction if the dad. Like,
imagine he's like at a city touring. Yeah. And he does it. Yeah. And then his dad goes, I think that could be me. Like
imagine he's just like sitting at a bar, TV's on, and he's like eating his peanuts or whatever, and then he's just like, that guy right there kind of looks like me, and then the bartender's just like, what are you talking about? And it's just like, I was there in that city that year. I did some woman, and that kid kind of looks like me.
No, imagine how many children there are like that out there.
Oh yeah,
there's probably like hundreds of them.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Maybe millions of them.
We could form a country.
all the abandoned children get together.
Fatherless children. We could totally make a country.
Get an island, bro. Get on.
Okay, that sounds a little Pinocchio-ish.
Get an island.
Anyways.
No, I mean like because like most of us are all grown up now.
Yeah.
Like actually that's not true. Your generation has gone through it more, but a lot of millennials had to go through it too.
Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So anyways, we gotta wrap up. This episode's gone on too long.
Yes.
Feel it. We've reached this point.
We have climaxed enough.
Okay. Let's move on. Let's
This has been Two Latin Brothers Podcast. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode. Make sure to click that subscribe button. If you haven't already, make sure to also hit that bell notification so you get notified whenever we release something new. And we'll catch you guys next time. Peace.
Bye.